Hey everyone, it's Nathan with Crown & Caliber, and today we are joined by Charlie, one of our watchmakers here at Crown & Caliber, and we're going to be talking about the Quartz watch. We're going to make a case for the Quartz watch. And rather than me stand here at a high top and tell you why I think they're so great, we figured we'd bring in truly an expert in watches. And so, Charlie, thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy day. Why don't you tell everyone a little bit about what you do at Crown & Caliber?
Sure. So my name's Charlie Emsley, and I'm a watchmaker here at Crown & Caliber. My job is to make sure that the watches that are leaving our facility are as perfect as they can be. That might include servicing or repairing or whatever needs to be done to make that watch operate as best as possible.
Awesome, man. And you're really good at it. You've been here for a while. You definitely know what you're doing. Your background goes from Breitling. Where else have you worked?
I worked for Breitling closely for a long time. It was seven years. And then I've been working here at Crown & Caliber for 4 years. And before that, it was watchmaking school.
Awesome. Yeah. So you definitely have far more watch experience than I would say most people that are into watches. Definitely more than me. You've probably forgotten more about watches than I even know about watches. So
in different areas.
Different areas. There you go. I think it's safe to say you are definitely an expert. And one of the reasons we wanted to talk to you today is because I know that you like Quartz watches.
I do.
Can you tell me just a little bit about why you love Quartz watches?
Really, it's almost their simplicity. So a Quartz watch is not a terribly complicated device. It has fewer moving parts, but at the same time can achieve the same result. So it's almost an efficiency versus complexity. I am also wearing a Quartz watch today. I'm wearing my Quartz watch of choice, which is the Breitling Aerospace. It is a watch that I bought 4 or 5 years ago, and I've enjoyed working on them when I was seeing them in the field, and I wear it quite frequently. I'm one of the few people, I think, that really appreciates it for everything about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think that's interesting that you got to work on them and from that even appreciate them more. And I like how you said you love Quartz watches because of their simplicity. Do you think that in like watch culture, this idea of like, grand complications and the complexity of a movement, do you think that is somewhat diminished why Quartz watches are so great?
It's hard to say. I know that some people might sort of devalue the Quartz watch because of the amount there is of them. Like anybody can come out with a Quartz watch. You can buy them for less than $5 at most major retailers. And so they sort of got a bad rap, in my opinion. When the earliest Quartz watches were really complicated, really cool, like feats of ingenuity to get done. And it shows us, it's sort of a sign like how efficiently they were able to go from this really complicated device to a very simple, very streamlined machine. I think anyone who really appreciates a watch for the mechanical aspect of it or the vintage nature of it, the nostalgia factor of this handmade mechanical timepiece, that is lost with the Quartz. You can't deny that. So I think that does contribute to the sort of bad rap that Quartz gets in it. Maybe some of it's deserved in what Quartz did to the industry in the 1970s and 80s by decimating it so thoroughly. But the whole evolution going from mechanical to Quartz, there were a couple steps. You didn't just go, Monday you had your Rolex 1570, and then Tuesday you had the ETA 255 Quartz movement. It wasn't an abrupt sudden shift. It was a long shift with several devices that came in between them. You have the Accutron.
Oh yeah.
You cannot forget about the Accutron and what it did. You also have, slightly predating that, you have the electromechanical watches, the Hamilton 505, which, again, take a look at it. You're gonna see it, and it's just gonna, it's really cool to look at.
Yeah.
They are interesting to work on, but they're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So you have these small steps, these incremental steps, before you finally got to the Quartz. So the earliest models, the Beta 21 is one of the earliest examples there is.
What year is this?
Late 60s, early 70s.
Okay. So yeah, that hasn't been around that long at all.
In the scope of watchmaking, no, it's a fraction of the time. So it started out, it was a project between a lot of different companies at the time. Many different companies worked together to produce this movement. So it was a collaborative effort, but it sort of developed and became the foundation of the Quartz watch is what this did. And then from there we just kept making it better and better and better until nowadays, like I said, you can get a quartz watch and a quartz timepiece in almost anything.
Yeah.
You know.
So on a basic level of understanding, how does a quartz watch function? Like I understand, because I've been here and talked with people like you, pretty much how a mechanical watch functions. But if I were to say a quartz watch, like it's a computer.
This readout tells you where you're going, this one tells you where you are, this one tells you where you were.
So layman's terms, how does a quartz watch tell time? How does it function in comparison to a mechanical watch?
So in comparison, it's almost the same principles. You have a power source, the battery, or a mainspring.
Yeah.
The battery discharges into an integrated circuit, which is counting the oscillations of a quartz crystal. So that quartz is oscillating at 32 kilohertz. The IC is checking that oscillation. And when it hits that number of oscillations, it sends an electrical pulse to a very simple motor system called the Levay motor. It is a stator, coil, and rotor. So when a current passes through the coil, it turns the stator into an electromagnet, which causes the rotor, which has a permanent magnet affixed to it, to rotate 180 degrees.
This is heavy duty, Doc. This is great.
That rotation translates into a gear train, which goes to the dial and hands, to the display, the hands display.
Gotcha.
If we're talking about an analog quartz, digital quartz is just going to a display screen.
That makes sense. Okay. So yeah, I guess in my head, I was comparing it to another analog watch.
Right.
And you said quartz oscillates at 32 kilohertz?
Yes.
And a standard mechanical watch operates at?
If you break it into the hertz range,
Yeah.
a standard mechanical watch nowadays can operate anywhere between 2.5 to 5 hertz.
Gotcha.
That's going from 18,000 to 36,000
Gotcha.
beats.
And I think I had heard or had read 4 hertz for mechanical watch,
Which is 28.8.
Gotcha, 28.8 as the beats per hour. So basically 32 kilohertz, that would be 32,000 hertz.
32,652 or something like
Gotcha.
that. It's 32 kilohertz is the number.
And so a piece of, literally that means in a quartz movement, there's a piece of quartz that is vibrating.
Yeah, electric current is being passed into a quartz crystal that traditionally is cut in the shape of a tuning fork.
Really?
So inside, essentially you have a cylinder, and inside that cylinder is the tuning fork of the quartz, and the two ends are just vibrating back and forth, and that vibration is able to be measured by the integrated circuit.
So the battery in a quartz watch is not just powering the functioning, it's actually powering that crystal's vibration.
Yes.
That is fascinating. Yeah, I feel like that's just somewhat misunderstood. I didn't know that. You've talked about the simplicity and why you love that. And how did this kind of you mentioned that beta movement. How did that clearly has had an effect on the watch industry.
Yeah, absolutely. When the quartz watch was really mass introduced to society as a whole, depending on who you talk to, you'll either hear about the quartz crisis or the quartz revolution in watchmaking. And they both pretty much refer to the same thing. Many watch companies just went under when the quartz was released because the cost of ownership for a watch just went down to the bottom. It became incredibly cheap to buy and own a watch. And when you needed to have that watch repaired, it was almost more cost effective to just get a new one as opposed to taking it to be serviced, which is a whole another topic of conversation on that. But the quartz has been maintaining a steady trajectory ever since then. Most major manufacturers have released some sort of quartz. Rolex has it in their Oyster quartz. Patek has used quartz as well.
So what is there, difference in a $5 quartz watch and a multi-$1,000 quartz watch? Where is the difference? Is it because one says Rolex and one says, a generic brand name?
It's quality of engineering that's gone into it. So you're not just paying for the materials, you're paying for all the work that went into making it.
Okay, yeah.
So you've got higher quality components, higher quality engineering, the service behind it. You take your Rolex Oyster quartz to Rolex, they may still be able to service it in many years' time. If you take your Happy Meal Yoda watch, McDonald's is not going to service that watch.
I like it. Good analogy. So what are some of your favorite quartz watches?
So the Super Quartz is pretty neat.
Yeah. And that's not a model. I know that is actually their movement.
That's a technology
Yes.
that they use in it. So what the Super Quartz does is it takes the temperature difference that's created in a quartz movement. What Breitling did is take another circuit and include it into the quartz watch that helps better regulate that. And you go from the accuracy of a normal quartz being 1/10 of a second a month to 1/10 of a second over the course of a year. It's much more accurate.
Holy.
It is way more accurate than your regular quartz, which is by far and above magnitude of accuracy beyond high-grade mechanical.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool in my opinion.
Yeah.
And also one thing I do like about quartz is you can add in complications without a lot of problems. For example, in the aerospace, you can have a calendar function, a chronograph function, a alarm function, a countdown function. Now those are all done digitally,
Yeah.
but it's still all in the same watch. And you still have the nice analog digital display setup.
Yeah. So it's almost a grand complication in its own right. It's
In
just
a very roundabout way,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm not going to compare it next to a grand complication.
you're not going to be like, oh, have you seen my Breitling Aerospace Grand Comp?
Oh, do you have a minute repeater? I do.
Exactly.
No, I'm not going to. I don't do that. But it's nice to be able to do a bunch of different timing events at the same time.
Yeah.
Mostly while cooking.
That's great because that is applicable. Like that is something that is used every day that if you don't have, I use my phone because I don't have that.
Yeah, I mean, for ages I used my phone too,
Yeah.
or the microwave or the stove or whatever. But now it's
But
right
it's
there
cool
on
to
my
be
wrist.
able to use your watch. for
Yeah,
that.
that's more than just something to look at. It's something that actually functions.
All right, so you've got your aerospace.
Mm-hmm.
If you could go out tomorrow and buy another quartz watch, what would you buy?
Ooh, tough question. I'd probably go with a Quartz Seamaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a solid, reliable dive watch,
Yeah.
and that's the whole of my collection, personally.
Okay.
I don't have a dive watch in my collection yet.
Yeah, and I feel like, what better place to have the most reliable timepieces if you're underwater?
Yeah. I mean, plus again, you've got great affordability. It's really quartz is underappreciated in the entry level to luxury. It really is because you're getting the name of the manufacturer. You're getting that Omega, or you're getting that Breitling or Tag or whatever brand it might be, and you're getting a lot of support behind it, and you get this really accurate, robust thing that's going to last you darn near forever. I own both a mechanical and quartzes, and I am proud of both of them, and I enjoy working on both of them.
Generally speaking, quartz watches are going to be cheaper than their mechanical counterparts. So with that inherent value proposition, being able to put on a quartz watch that may get, beat up is totally okay. I think,
Yeah, it's fine. You could wear a quartz watch. You could wear many quartz watches or consider them to be a beater watch. I don't like the phrase beater watch too much because it implies you just don't care what happens to it. I care for your watch. I'd like you to not beat it up. But for a watch that you just want to put on and have on and just wear, and if you're going to be out and about and you're not too terribly concerned with maintaining this, your high grade timepiece or your mechanical watch, having a quartz watch that you can just put on your wrist and just you're out the door, pretty solid selling point.
Yeah.
To some people.
Well, hey, thank you so much, Charlie. I think this has been both insightful for me and I hope insightful for viewers about the case for the quartz watch. So, hey guys, go ahead, leave questions in the comments below. We can definitely relay any questions to Charlie if they're super technical and we need his expertise. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.